video games, are they for people that are grown? Or are they meant for kids up until a certain age, in your personal opinion?
Video games?
Yeah.
Oh.
Like, think back to when you were a kid.
Right.
And then up until now. And we're no longer kids. We're in our 30s. So, like, what do you think about that?
Are video games made for kids, or can you play them as adults?
Should it be acceptable for adults to be able to play video games?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
I mean, because
you've never heard that video games are for kids from anybody?
I mean, of course, like you hear that, like, you know, a lot of people like say that, like, to this day, but there are a lot of video games that are made for like a more mature audience. You know what I mean? Whether it be first-person shooter games, whether it be what were the ratings for the video games?
There was E for everybody.
Yeah, E for everybody.
T for teen. And then there was M for mature.
Right.
And A for, no, it's something else for an adult. I forget what it was.
Yeah, anyways.
Something like that, yeah.
I mean, like, there are games that are made for, like, the more mature audience. You know what I mean? I do think video games are universal, as in, like, any age group can play them.
Yeah, okay.
But I do think that, like, the more mature games, the more graphic and gory games, kids probably shouldn't play those, in my opinion.
Okay.
What do you think?
Okay, honestly, I look at it like this. Because when I was growing up, and video games were very primitive back then, like in the 90s and in the 2000s. You know, you had the PlayStations and the N64s and all that stuff. But I think that the, older generations, they're always like, oh, you should, at a certain age, you should stop playing video games. It's like the same as playing with toys. You stop playing with toys at a certain age, right?
Right.
Although it's becoming a little bit more acceptable now to like collect stuff, like collect toys and figurines and stuff like that. But I think when you think about how games were back in the day, right? Mario, the original Mario, the Super Mario Brothers on the NES.
Or Mario 64.
Not even Mario 64. Well, maybe. Yeah. But like Frogger.
Oh,
these type of games. Like really simple, like very simple games.
Yeah. Tetris.
Tetris. Yeah. Well, Snake. Candy Crush, which I still play. But I don't know. I think if you look at it in that context, maybe you have a point, I think. Because if you're like 35 years old and you're like trying to cross that river over logs with a frog, like, you know what I mean? I guess you could see why that would happen. This is, I think, opinion came a lot when video games were still very primitive.
Right. But I also think like a lot of games, like even back in the day games, I think they are like very mentally stimulating. Whether it be Tetris, like you have to be mentally like aware of what's going on in the game. You know what I mean? I think there are a lot of games that are mentally stimulating. I think the whole thing where it's like, oh, you're old, like you shouldn't be playing games. Like you said, it was when like the primitive age of games. And it's also like, I can see where people that say that come from. Is because honestly, if you're just sitting at a computer and playing games for hours on end, honestly, you could spend that time doing something else, like building like a real life skill. You know what I mean?
Isn't that what we do?
I mean, yeah. I mean, not saying that playing video games and getting good at a game isn't like a real skill, but
they have pro gamers now.
Yeah, you could spend that time, like doing woodwork or something. You know what I mean?
There you go.
You know what I mean?
Be in the wood shop.
But I do feel like that's like a very like old way of thinking, like old school mentality, where it's like, oh, like stop playing video games. Like you're like 25 years old now. You know what I mean? I think there are a lot of games right now that are very mentally stimulating, that do get people's like brains working. And I think like if that's a way for you to stimulate yourself, I think like go for it. I think everyone should be able to play games.
See, I love jumping down the rabbit hole of video games, right? Because in my mind, I have a reason why I play video games, okay?
Yeah.
Video games now, a lot of them are very story driven. They were not like that before. There's like you can only talk about a frog or stuff like that for so long before like Crash Bandicoot, for example. I don't know if you know what that is, but
Crash Bandicoot,
like there's a story there, but it's pretty linear. You're just running and jumping and eating peaches and all that stuff. You know what I mean?
Or Sonic the Hedgehog,
Spyro the Dragon, like all of these.
Oh my god, yeah.
We're throwing back right now. But like there's a story there, but it's not really a story. It's very bare bones. But these days, let me tell you, I enjoy playing video games more than I enjoy watching movies because the story is so much better when it doesn't have to be condensed into like 1 or 2 hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like you can play, because like most AAA games these days, the story is like 25, 30 hours long.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Top 3 or 5 games in your mind of all time.
Of all time?
Let's do 5.
Let's do 5.
Because I don't think I can narrow it down to 3. So
okay. Me personally, ones that I've played or like I've watched videos of.
NFL 2007.
No. Number 5, I'm gonna have to give it up to Pokemon Red or Blue.
Okay.
The original.
We're old school.
Actually, Silver and Gold are really good too.
I had all of those. Well, no, because I have a brother, and back then because there was usually each generation there would be 1 or 2 games each, right? There was Red, Blue, Silver, Gold.
Yeah, and then it was I played up to Ruby, Diamond.
I didn't even play that. I don't
Ruby,
even know the
Sapphire.
Pokemon from that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So red or blue?
Red or Blue. Number 4, I'm gonna give it up to Silver and Gold. Pokemon.
Is it all Pokemon games?
No.
Pokemon Snap, is that on there?
No.
That was a good game, though.
No, Pokemon. Okay, Pokemon. I'm just gonna give like just a generalization. Number 5.
Okay.
I think. Number 4, games that I've played. I still play to this day PUBG.
Okay.
It's just like very easygoing.
Okay.
You know, it's just a good time killer.
That's Battlegrounds, if you guys don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 3, I'm gonna have to give it up to Final Fantasy 15.
Okay.
The storyline, I never played it, but I watched him play the whole game.
Yeah.
When we were living
together.
And the storyline was so good. Number 2, I'm gonna have to give it to Final Fantasy 10.
Okay.
Final Fantasy 10, so good. And then obviously the GOAT of Final Fantasy.
It's all Final Fantasy and Pokemon.
Final Fantasy 7. Well, games that I play personally.
Okay, that's fine.
Final Fantasy 7.
Okay.
The GOAT.
That is not a bad list.
course
Although
it's
me
not.
personally, if I would take out Final Fantasy 15 and I would take out PUBG and
Okay.
Pokemon. Oh, Pokemon maybe, but
Okay.
Okay.
Just because it's like so like nostalgic for me. That's what it is. All right, let's hear your top 5
Okay.
list.
Top 5. Definitely up there. I would put Red Dead Redemption 2.
I have very good reviews.
These are not in any order. It's just, Red Dead Redemption 2. Final Fantasy 7, like you.
Yes.
Final Fantasy 10.
Yes.
I would also say Metal Gear Solid, at least the first 3.
Okay, Metal Gear.
They are really good. And then, trying to think what other games I played.
You know what? I'm gonna redact number 4.
Okay.
PUBG. I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna say Halo 2.
Halo 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
So many good memories.
So
from
I
Halo.
played Halo 1. Okay, that was very primitive. Halo 2 was when Xbox Live first came out.
Yep.
I spent so many middle school nights playing that game. You have no idea.
What was it? The energy sword? Is that what it's called?
The energy. What you do is you get the plasma pistol energy sword combo.
Woo!
Or no, there was the plasma pistol battle rifle combo.
There was that one gun with like the spikes. You know what I'm talking about?
The what?
There was a gun with like the
The
spikes.
needler.
The needler. Yeah.
the needler.
Oh my god.
Man, I used to tear up on Xbox Live.
I would whoop your ass on that game. Oh
no,
my
we
god.
should get it. I don't have an Xbox anymore, but
Did he still make the Xbox? I don't even know.
yeah, they still make the Xbox. I don't know about Halo though. I mean, Halo, they made so many games. I gave up after. I stopped playing it after like 3.
Yeah.
Or Fall of Reach maybe.
Oh
But,
yeah, Halo, so good.
But you go back to Final Fantasy X. That game, turn of the century for me, right? I laughed. I cried. I was emotional. I'm sorry I couldn't show you Xanarkand. Like, I love that game. I liked X2 also, but like it's whatever.
I hated X2.
But you know what? It was
Ruined the
part of the
story.
story. Like, and I had to do it. But that game is one of my all-time favorites.
Oh yeah,
It is so
we used
good.
to like back in the day. We used to like drink, and then we used to have Final Fantasy X quizzes.
And he would cheat. He'd
and
be
I
like,
would win every time.
I'd be like, oh, what's the Aeon of Makalania Temple? And he'd be like,
yeah, my ass.
no.
Can't admit to a loss.
We're sounding like real nerds, but yeah. Stories. I want to shout out Hideo Kojima-san for making Metal Gear Solid, and it's so awesome, and it was so wrong how you kicked out of Kojima Productions. It's just tragic. But anyway.
I don't even know what he's talking about.
Oh my gosh. Metal Gear Solid is my favorite of all time.
Really?
My absolute favorite.
More
It's
than
my
10.
number.
More than Final Fantasy 10.
Way
Really?
more.
Interesting.
It is my favorite of all games.
Interesting.
I literally bought a PlayStation 3 just to play that
Metal Gear Solid.
Metal Gear Solid 4.
Yeah. I want to play Final Fantasy 16, but apparently you have to buy the PS5 to play that game. And like I have a
listen.
PS4 that I barely use.
I got a computer. I'll wait till they release it online or like on the computer. I'm sure they will.
Yeah, I don't want to buy PS5 for that game, but I heard good reviews about 16.
16. At first you were like, I don't want to play that. It looks medieval. I don't like that.
Yeah,
there's
because
no
it-
fantasy in it.
It look like because Final Fantasy like it has to be like a little bit of fantasy. That's what makes the game what it is. But
This is
you know,
based off of one singular trailer.
Yes, but it seemed like very medieval. Like I mean, it is from what I've seen.
The original Final Fantasies were all medieval.
Yeah, but
like 1 through I don't know 6.
Yeah, but who's playing Final Fantasy 1, dude? Like,
Final Fantasy fans, not me though.
We're too young for that.
I like 5, 7, 15, 8.
I like 7, 8, 9, 10.
Oh, 10, yeah.
Was it 11 or 12? I heard it was really
there was
good.
an online one. I never played that.
Yeah,
one that was like an MMO.
I tried like a day and I was like, I can't play this. I was like, yeah, no.
Listen. I made a vow to myself that I would never get in an MMORPG again.
Why?
Because I was thoroughly obsessed with. There was a game called Star Wars Galaxies. Okay,
Yes.
Came out in 2003-ish. I was obsessed. Like I didn't leave my house. I was a total like shut in. I didn't do anything.
Yeah, if you're a character from that game, who do you think you would be?
From what game?
From Star Wars. Just that universe. Who do you think you'd be?
Star Wars?
I think you'd be that CP whatever.
C-3PO?
Yeah, that'd be you, dude. That's you, dude. As a Star Wars character.
I remember your fans getting on my case for getting on your case for you ditching me into the Star Wars movie that one time. Everyone was like, "Can you stop talking about Star Wars?" He brought it up, y'all, not me.
Bro, they know what's
I think Aaron would definitely be like
I'm like Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah, my
or
ass.
like a Chewbacca.
I'm Obi-Wan Kenobi.
No. Maybe it'd be like one of those Jedi that died, like just without any screen time.
Yeah, my ass, bro. Yeah, my ass.
But anyway, yeah. What are we talking about? Anyway. Games for me are more like it's an interactive movie for me. More so, I don't play games. I don't like games that don't have story. Like you're like, oh, I like PUBG. Okay, it's fun, but it's surface level fun for me. I like to be invested in these characters. I'm not invested into player blank 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 who shot me in the head in PUBG, which happens a lot, by the way. But, I suck at that game so bad. But yeah, I need a story. That's why I like Metal Gear Solid and Final Fantasy and all those types of games.
Yeah, because there's like so many games nowadays like that are story driven.
They're almost all story driven.
Yeah.
Unless you're playing like the ones that come out every year, the football games or the ski or the hockey or those ones. I don't really like those kind of games. Like
and like for those of you guys that are like, oh, they're like game stories. Like how like intricate and detailed can they be?
Very.
You have to look at videos about the game after you finish it to understand what the hell actually happened.
Ask Hideo Kojima-san because he made a lot of money off that franchise.
Yeah. But yeah, like I think games like just. They're universal. They can play them at whatever age, especially like the story-driven games. Like they're amazing.
They make you cry.
Yeah, they do.
I cried.
I mean,
on Final Fantasy X. I still get drunk and I watch the final scene where he jumps off the airship.
Yeah.
And he gives his dad a high five. Oof.
Oh my god, dude.
And also Red Dead Redemption 2. I also like teared up on that game too.